Today, I want to talk about something that has the power to transform your life in extraordinary ways: how to build good habits. Building good habits starts with taking small, manageable steps. The journey to self improvement or mastering new habits can feel overwhelming if we aim for drastic changes overnight. Instead, focusing on small actions lays a strong foundation for sustainable progress. When you start small, you remove the pressure of perfection and focus on consistency, which is far more important in the long run. For instance, if your goal is to develop a habit of exercising, committing to a full hour at the gym every day might feel daunting, especially if you're starting from scratch. This might lead to burnout or discouragement when you miss a day or find it too challenging. Instead, starting with a 5 or 10-minute workout at home feels more achievable. It's something you can easily fit into your schedule without requiring significant changes to your routine. The simplicity of this approach lowers the barrier to entry and makes it easier to take that first step. Starting small also allows you to build confidence in your ability to follow through. Every time you successfully complete the small action, you reinforce a sense of accomplishment. This positive reinforcement creates momentum, which motivates you to continue and expand on the habit over time. For example, if you begin with just 5 push-ups a day, you may find yourself naturally increasing the number as the habit becomes ingrained. This progression happens organically as your confidence and ability grow. Another advantage of starting small is that it reduces resistance. When we aim for massive changes, our brains often perceive them as threats to our comfort zone. This can trigger procrastination or feelings of being overwhelmed. Small steps, on the other hand, feel less intimidating. They require minimal willpower and effort, which helps you sidestep the common excuses that prevent many people from starting at all. For instance, if you want to start meditating, but the idea of sitting for 20 minutes feels unrealistic, starting with just 1 minute is far less daunting. That single minute is enough to establish the habit, and you can gradually build from there. Moreover, small beginnings have a compounding effect. The initial step may seem insignificant, but repeated consistently over time, it leads to remarkable results. Imagine saving just $1 a day. It might not seem like much at first, but over months and years, that small action accumulates into a meaningful amount. Similarly, small habits compound into significant life changes when practiced consistently. Whether it's drinking an extra glass of water daily, reading a single page of a book, or taking a 5-minute walk, these actions may seem trivial in isolation, but can lead to a healthier, more productive life over time. Starting small also makes it easier to experiment and refine your approach. When the stakes are low, you can test different strategies and see what works best for you without the fear of failure. For instance, if you're trying to eat healthier, you could start by swapping out one unhealthy snack a day rather than overhauling your entire diet. This allows you to adjust gradually and discover sustainable changes that suit your lifestyle. Lastly, starting small aligns with the psychological concept of identity-based habits. When you perform even a tiny version of a habit, you begin to see yourself as the kind of person who practices that habit. For example, writing 1 sentence a day helps you identify as a writer. This shift in identity is powerful because it reinforces your commitment to the habit. Over time, these small actions create a ripple effect, transforming your behavior and shaping your self-perception. In conclusion, starting small is not just a strategy, it's the foundation of building good habits. By focusing on small, manageable steps, you eliminate overwhelm, build confidence, and create momentum. These micro changes compound into long-term success, proving that even the tiniest actions can lead to significant transformations when approached with patience and consistency. Consistency is the backbone of building any good habit. While motivation can give you a boost to start, it's consistency that ensures the habit becomes ingrained as a natural part of your daily life. Many people make the mistake of relying on fleeting bursts of inspiration or willpower to sustain their habits, but the real secret lies in showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. Small, consistent actions, repeated over time, lead to significant and lasting changes. One way to cultivate consistency is by attaching your new habit to an existing routine. This approach is known as habit stacking, a concept popularized by James Clear in Atomic Habits. By linking a new habit to something you already do regularly, you create a natural cue that reminds you to perform the habit. For instance, if you want to develop the habit of flossing your teeth, you can tie it to brushing your teeth. Since brushing is already an established part of your routine, it becomes easier to add flossing right afterward. Over time, the two actions blend together into one seamless routine. Another strategy to maintain consistency is to set a specific time or place for your habit. When a habit is tied to a particular time of day or location, it becomes easier to remember and follow through. For example, if you aim to exercise daily, choosing a specific time, like right after waking up or during your lunch break, helps make the habit a fixed part of your schedule. Similarly, if you want to start journaling, doing it in the same spot, like at your desk or on the couch, creates a mental association that reinforces the habit. The predictability of time and place removes decision fatigue and makes it easier to stick with your habit. Consistency also requires making your habits realistic and manageable. If a habit feels too demanding, you're less likely to stick with it in the long term. It's better to commit to a small, achievable version of your habit and perform it regularly than to aim for something ambitious that you can't sustain. For example, if you want to start running but feel overwhelmed by the idea of a 5-mile jog, start by committing to just 5 minutes of jogging or even a brisk walk. By keeping your habits small and attainable, you reduce the risk of burnout and increase the likelihood of staying consistent. Tracking your progress is another powerful way to maintain consistency. Keeping a record of your habits, whether in a journal, an app, or on a calendar, provides a clear visual representation of your efforts. Each day you stick to your habit adds a win to your streak, and seeing those streaks build up can be incredibly motivating. No one wants to break a streak once it starts to grow. Even if you miss a day, having a clear record reminds you to get back on track quickly, ensuring that a minor slip-up doesn't turn into a prolonged lapse. It's also important to have a mindset of flexibility within consistency. Life is unpredictable, and there will be days when sticking to your habit feels difficult due to unexpected challenges. On such days, it's better to do a smaller version of your habit than to skip it entirely. For instance, if your habit is to meditate for 10 minutes daily, but you're short on time, even meditating for just 1 minute keeps the habit alive. This never miss twice rule helps you maintain momentum and prevent setbacks from derailing your progress entirely. Another key to staying consistent is focusing on the process rather than the outcome. Instead of fixating on results, such as losing a certain amount of weight or mastering a new skill, shift your attention to simply showing up every day and completing the habit. When you focus on the process, you remove the pressure of immediate results and build a stronger foundation for long-term success. The outcomes will naturally follow as a result of your consistent efforts. Finally, consistency becomes easier when you remind yourself of your why. Understanding the deeper purpose behind your habit gives you a sense of direction and motivation. For example, if your goal is to exercise regularly, remind yourself that it's not just about physical fitness. It's also about improving your energy, boosting your mood, and enhancing your overall quality of life. Keeping your why in mind provides the emotional drive needed to stay consistent, even on days when the habit feels challenging. In summary, consistency is the key to building and sustaining good habits. By linking habits to existing routines, setting specific times or places, starting small, tracking progress, and focusing on the process, you create a system that ensures long-term success. It's not about perfection, but about showing up regularly, even when the effort feels small. Over time, these consistent actions compound into meaning. Making a habit easy to follow is one of the most effective ways to ensure you stick with it. Human behavior is largely driven by convenience, and when something is simple or effortless to do, we're far more likely to follow through with it. On the other hand, if a habit feels complicated, time-consuming, or burdensome, our natural inclination is to avoid it. By designing your environment and routine in a way that makes your desired habit easier to execute, you remove barriers that could otherwise derail your progress. One of the most practical ways to make a habit easy is by reducing friction. Friction refers to anything that creates resistance or makes it harder to perform the habit. For example, if you want to start working out in the morning, but your workout clothes are buried deep in a drawer, you've added an unnecessary layer of effort to the process. A simple way to reduce this friction is to set out your clothes the night before so they're ready and waiting for you when you wake up. This small adjustment removes a hurdle and makes it more likely that you'll follow through with your plan. Another way to reduce friction is by breaking the habit into smaller, more manageable parts. Sometimes a task feels daunting because we see it as a big, time-consuming activity. By breaking it down into smaller steps, you make it easier to get started. For instance, if you want to write a book, sitting down to write an entire chapter might feel overwhelming. Instead, commit to writing just one paragraph or even one sentence. Once you've started, you'll often find it easier to continue, and over time, those small efforts will add up to significant progress. Your environment also plays a crucial role in making habits easier. If your surroundings are not aligned with your goals, they can make even simple habits difficult to follow. For example, if you're trying to eat healthier, but your kitchen is full of junk food, it becomes much harder to make good choices. A simple solution is to design your environment to support your habits. Stock your fridge with fruits and vegetables, place healthy snacks within easy reach, and store unhealthy options out of sight, or don't buy them at all. Similarly, if you want to read more, keep a book on your nightstand or in your bag so it's always accessible. By optimizing your environment, you create a pathway of least resistance to your desired habit. Technology can also be a powerful ally in making habits easier. There are countless apps and tools available to simplify habits and remind you to stay on track. For instance, if you want to build a habit of drinking more water, you can use an app that sends you reminders throughout the day. If you're learning a new language, platforms like Duolingo gamify the process, making it both easy and enjoyable to practice daily. Leveraging technology removes the burden of remembering or organizing your habits and allows you to focus solely on execution. Another important aspect of making a habit easy is starting with a version of the habit that feels almost too simple. This is often referred to as the 2-minute rule. The idea is to scale your habit down to an action that takes no more than 2 minutes to complete. For example, instead of committing to reading for an hour every evening, start by reading one page. Instead of promising yourself a 30-minute workout, start with just putting on your workout shoes and stretching. These tiny actions might seem insignificant, but they make the habit so easy to start that there's virtually no excuse not to do it. Once you've started, you often find it easier to continue. It's also helpful to automate your habits whenever possible. Automation removes the need for conscious effort, making it easier to stay consistent. For example, if you want to save money, set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your savings account every month. If you want to remember to take vitamins, use a pill organizer that's easy to access. Automation takes advantage of systems that work in the background, ensuring your habit continues even when you're busy or distracted. Finally, it's essential to remove competing behaviors or distractions that make the habit harder to follow. If you're trying to focus on work but constantly check social media, consider using tools that block distracting websites during work hours. If you want to spend less time watching TV and more time exercising, unplugging the TV or keeping the remote out of reach can make it easier to choose the healthier option. By removing temptations or barriers that compete with your desired habit, you create a smoother path towards success. In conclusion, making a habit easy is about removing obstacles, simplifying the process, and designing an environment that supports your goals. By reducing friction, starting small, leveraging tools and technology, and automating whenever possible, you make it easier to stay consistent and committed. The easier a habit feels, the more likely it is to become a natural and enduring part of your life. Celebrating small wins is an essential part of building good habits because it reinforces positive behavior and keeps you motivated. While we often focus on long-term goals, the journey toward achieving those goals is made up of countless small steps. Acknowledging and celebrating these steps not only helps you stay on track, but also makes the process more enjoyable and rewarding. Humans are naturally drawn to activities that provide immediate gratification. So when you associate your habit with positive feelings through celebration, you increase the likelihood of sticking with it. One reason celebrating small wins is so effective is that it taps into the brain's reward system. When you acknowledge a small achievement, your brain releases dopamine, a chemical that makes you feel good and reinforces the behavior that led to that reward. This creates a positive feedback loop. The more you celebrate your progress, the more your brain associates the habit with pleasure, making it easier to continue. For example, if you're working on developing a habit of exercising, acknowledging each completed workout, even a short one, gives you a sense of accomplishment that motivates you to keep going. Celebrating doesn't have to involve grand gestures or elaborate rewards. It can be as simple as smiling to yourself, saying well done, or giving yourself a mental high five. These small acts of self-recognition may seem trivial, but they have a powerful psychological impact. By taking a moment to pause and appreciate your effort, you build confidence and reinforce the idea that you are capable of following through on your commitments. Over time, this consistent self-affirmation strengthens your belief in your ability to succeed, which is a critical component of habit formation. For many people, the act of tracking their habits is itself a form of celebration. Checking off a completed habit on a calendar or marking progress in a habit tracking app provides a tangible sense of achievement. Each mark represents a small victory and serves as a visual reminder of how far you've come. Watching your progress build over time can be incredibly satisfying and motivating. This method not only celebrates small wins, but also keeps you accountable, as breaking a streak can feel like a loss you'll want to avoid. Another way to celebrate small wins is by rewarding yourself in meaningful but balanced ways. The reward doesn't have to be extravagant, it just needs to feel significant enough to create a sense of pleasure and accomplishment. For example, if you've stuck to your habit of studying for an hour every day, you might reward yourself with a favorite snack, a relaxing walk, or a short break to enjoy a hobby. The key is to ensure that the reward aligns with your goals, doesn't undermine your progress. For instance, if your goal is to eat healthier, rewarding yourself with junk food might not be the best choice. Instead, opt for something that feels indulgent but still supports your overall objectives. Celebrating small wins also helps to shift your focus from the outcome to the process. Many people become discouraged when they don't see immediate results from their efforts, which can lead them to abandon their habits altogether. By celebrating the small steps along the way, you learn to appreciate the journey rather than fixating solely on the end goal. For example, if your goal is to lose weight, celebrating the fact that you consistently made it to the gym 3 times in a week, regardless of the number on the scale, keeps you motivated and reinforces the habit of exercising. Sharing your wins with others can amplify the celebration and provide additional motivation. When you share your progress with friends, family, or a supportive community, their encouragement and recognition can boost your confidence and make you feel even more accomplished. For example, if you've been working on writing a book and you finish a chapter, sharing this milestone with a close friend can provide an extra layer of validation and motivation. It also creates a sense of accountability, as you're more likely to stick with your habit when others are aware of your efforts. It's important to remember that celebrating small wins doesn't mean you're settling for less or losing sight of your larger goals. On the contrary, it's about recognizing that big achievements are built on a foundation of consistent, incremental progress. Each small win is a stepping stone toward your ultimate success, and by celebrating them, you make the journey more enjoyable and sustainable. Finally, celebrating small wins fosters a positive mindset. When you focus on what you're doing right rather than on what you haven't yet achieved, you cultivate a sense of gratitude and satisfaction. This positive outlook makes it easier to stay motivated and resilient, even when challenges arise. Over time, this habit of celebrating progress becomes a source of energy that propels you forward, helping you turn your good habits into a lasting part of your life. In summary, celebrating small wins is a powerful way to reinforce habits, build motivation, and cultivate a positive mindset. By acknowledging each step forward, rewarding yourself appropriately, and appreciating the journey, you make the process of habit building more enjoyable and effective. These small celebrations remind you that every effort counts and that progress, no matter how small, is worth recognizing. Tracking your progress is a crucial aspect of building good habits because it provides clarity, accountability, and motivation. When you keep a record of your efforts, you can see tangible evidence of your consistency and improvement over time. This not only reinforces your commitment to the habit, but also allows you to identify patterns, celebrate milestones, and adjust your approach as needed. Progress tracking transforms what might feel like an abstract effort into something concrete, measurable, and rewarding. One of the most significant benefits of tracking your progress is the sense of accountability it creates. When you visually document your efforts, whether in a journal, on a calendar, or through a digital app, you make your actions visible and harder to ignore. This visibility keeps you honest about your habits and less likely to skip them. For example, if you're trying to build a habit of exercising, marking each workout on a calendar provides a clear record of how often you've followed through. Seeing gaps where you've missed a day can motivate you to get back on track and avoid further lapses. Progress tracking creates a feedback loop where each completed action serves as a reminder to keep going. Tracking also helps you measure incremental improvements that might otherwise go unnoticed. Habits often produce slow and subtle results, and it's easy to feel discouraged when you don't see immediate outcomes. However, when you track your progress, you can look back and recognize how far you've come, even if the changes feel small. For example, if your goal is to save money, tracking your daily or weekly savings shows how your small contributions are adding up over time. This helps you stay focused on the bigger picture and reinforces the idea that consistent effort leads to meaningful results. Another advantage of tracking progress is that it allows you to celebrate milestones. Each time you reach a benchmark, such as completing a habit for 10 days in a row or reaching a personal best, you create an opportunity to acknowledge your hard work and dedication. These moments of celebration provide a boost of motivation and remind you that your efforts are paying off. For instance, if you're learning a new language, tracking the number of words or phrases you've mastered allows you to celebrate your growing knowledge, keeping you excited to continue. Progress tracking is also a valuable tool for identifying patterns and gaining insights into your behavior. By recording your actions, you can spot trends that help you understand what's working and what might need adjustment. For example, you might notice that you're more consistent with your habit on certain days of the week or at specific times of the day. This information can guide you in optimizing your routine to better support your goals. Similarly, if you notice recurring obstacles, such as skipping workouts after late nights, you can address those challenges by making changes to your schedule or environment. There are many ways to track progress, and the method you choose should align with your preferences and goals. For some, a simple checklist or habit tracker app works well, while others might prefer keeping a detailed journal. The key is to find a system that feels natural and enjoyable to use so that it becomes a part of your routine. For example, if you're building a habit of writing daily, you might track your word count in a notebook or use an app designed for writers. If you're working on fitness goals, wearable devices like fitness trackers or smartwatches can provide detailed data on your activities, making it easy to monitor your progress. In addition to tracking your successes, it's also helpful to track when you fall short. This isn't about punishing yourself, but rather about understanding why you missed a step and how you can improve moving forward. Reflecting on setbacks and noting them in your tracking system helps you learn from your experiences and build resilience. For example, if you notice that you skipped your habit on days when you were particularly busy, you might decide to scale down the habit on those days to make it more manageable. Tracking progress also fosters a sense of control and agency. When you can see and measure your actions, you feel more in charge of your journey. This sense of control is empowering and reinforces your belief in your ability to shape your own habits and outcomes. For example, if you're trying to improve your diet, tracking your meals and snacks gives you a clear picture of your eating habits and empowers you to make informed decisions about what to adjust. Finally, tracking your progress can help you stay motivated during challenging periods. There will inevitably be times when sticking to a habit feels difficult and the initial excitement fades. During these moments, looking back at your progress can reignite your motivation. Seeing a streak of completed days or a record of achievements reminds you of the effort you've already invested and encourages you to keep going. In summary, tracking your progress is a powerful strategy for building good habits. It creates accountability, provides tangible evidence of your efforts, and allows you to celebrate milestones along the way. By measuring your progress, identifying patterns, and reflecting on setbacks, you gain valuable insights that help you refine your approach and stay motivated. Whether through simple checklists, digital tools, or detailed journals, progress tracking turns habit building into a measurable, rewarding journey that keeps you focused and inspired. Staying patient and persistent is crucial when building good habits because meaningful change takes time. Habits are not formed overnight, they require consistent effort and dedication. Often, people give up too soon because they expect immediate results and feel discouraged when progress isn't visible right away. However, understanding that habit formation is a gradual process can help you stay focused on your goals and committed to the journey. One reason patience is essential is that building a habit involves rewiring your brain. Your mind needs time to create new neural pathways that make the habit feel automatic. Research suggests it can take anywhere from 21 days to several months to fully establish a new habit, depending on its complexity and your consistency. Acknowledging this reality allows you to set realistic expectations and avoid frustration. Instead of rushing, focus on the daily effort, trusting that each small step brings you closer to making the habit a natural part of your routine. Persistence is equally important because challenges and setbacks are inevitable. Life is unpredictable, and there will be days when sticking to your habit feels difficult or even impossible. During these moments, it's essential to maintain a long-term perspective. Missing one day doesn't mean you failed. It's what you do next that matters. Adopting a never miss twice mindset can help you recover quickly from setbacks and prevent small lapses from turning into prolonged periods of inactivity. Patience also helps you stay consistent, even when progress seems slow. Many habits produce results that are not immediately apparent. For example, if you're trying to eat healthier, you might not notice significant changes in your weight or energy levels right away. However, by staying persistent and trusting the process, you'll eventually see the benefits of your efforts. Tracking your progress can provide motivation during these times, as it allows you to see the accumulation of small wins over time. Finally, patience and persistence teach you resilience. By sticking with a habit through ups and downs, you develop mental strength and discipline that can be applied to other areas of your life. This perseverance becomes a valuable skill, enabling you to tackle future challenges with confidence and determination. In the end, patience and persistence are what transform short-term efforts into long-term efforts into long-lasting, meaningful change.